To this lesson, we're going to take a look at your bar chords and how to make them sound clearer, feel easier, and build up hand strength. When it comes down to it, building up hand strength is the key behind bar chords feeling easier and sounding clearer and being able to change them better. So we're going to focus a lot in this lesson on building up hand strength and also building up some finger independence as well. For the purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to use my G major bar chord. And you can follow along with some of these exercises in this lesson as well. Keep in mind, if your hand gets really sore, just take a break. Learning bar chords are like doing push-ups. Since we're using muscles to play our bar chords, it does make sense that you will reach a time where your muscles just need a break. And since we're like sitting down playing bar chords, it's easy to think, I haven't really been moving much, so I don't know why my hand's tired, I'll play past it. Just like push-ups, if 20 was the best amount of push-ups you could do and your muscles tired out, take a break for a while, come back later on and do another 20. And you might even get to do like 21, or your form might be better or something like that. Well, with bar chords, it's the same. Take breaks, but definitely come back to them on that same day. So with all that being said, let's take a look. These best practices for bar chords, all 10 of them are listed in detail below this lesson if you want to download the sheet after this lesson. For now, let's take a look. So I'm getting my G major bar chord, and the first tip here is to practice further up the neck in the beginning. So when you're practicing bar chords, if you do get bored of your G major bar chord sound, 3rd fret is one reference here, like you could do it on the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th at a push for a beginner. Once you go past the 7th fret, it does get a little trickier. So for that reason, the 3rd to 7th fret is the sweet spot. So the next tip, when you begin to think about it, your bar chord is only made up of a few parts that when they're all working properly, they give you a bar chord. We have our positioning and independence of our fingers. We have our bar, which is our index finger. We have what our thumb is doing. And we have one or two other little bits which we'll get into towards the end. So now we're going to focus on our index. So if you want to take off these 3 fingers, and the first tip I have is to use the side of your index. You'll know you're doing this when you look at the nail on your pointer finger and it's pointing nearly out the way. So it's almost, if your neck is here, it's almost like at a 10 o'clock position. If you imagine like a beam of white light going out from the nail. That will help you use the side of that finger. Why the side? Because it's bonier. There's less like skin and stuff there. So using the side of the finger on the strings. And you could practice it like this. Go. And remember, only pick those strings because those are the only ones your index has to press on. The other fingers will have the other strings covered. So that'll be one exercise you could do. And move it around. Now, just like in the beginning, when your fingers felt sore doing open chords and then they toughened up, the skin toughened up, the skin on this part of your finger is going to have to do the same. So have a bit of patience with it. It will build up over time. Right now it might be a bit sore, but it'll get tougher. And of course, the added tip there was to press down only on the top string and the bottom 2 strings. And that was for our G major bar chord. Here comes a tip that isn't taught that much, but it makes all the difference for building up strength. We want to add pressure onto our bar chord shape from the right places. A lot of times players think that it's all to do with pressing with the fingers and pressing with their thumb, and they forget about like there's a lot of strength here and a lot of things we can do with the body of the guitar. So test this out. If you put your index back again for the G, and what I'd like you to do is get your elbow here on this side of the guitar and hug it into the body. And you notice as I do that, the head of my guitar actually starts to jut out the other way. Watch this. So keep an eye on the head of the guitar. You see it kind of goes out. That's where your index comes in. It's going to press to keep the neck in position. So watch this. You slowly hug the body of the guitar with your elbow, but press with your index. And it creates this pressure point. Give that a go and see how it works for you, and then go back the old way. The final step to that is to remove your thumb from the back of the neck. So there'll be no thumb at the back for this exercise. You will keep your thumb on the back of the neck when you play bar chords, but for this exercise, in the name of building up strength, just keep it off the back of the neck. So thumbs off the back, hug here, and I press here with the side of my finger. And that's step one. Now it will feel a bit uncomfy, and what this does is, practicing that enough times, it builds in like muscle memory into the bar chord. So you're not always relying on your thumb, that you know you can do it without the thumb. So when you add the thumb back on, there'll be a lot less pressure on your thumb. And you notice these tips are to do with like technique rather than power. So we're going to look at the elbow of our chord hand. So no matter what, if you're right or left-handed, whichever hand you make bar chords with, it's that elbow. So I'd like you to pull your elbow back towards your hip, like this. So we go like that. And that's another little thing you can practice. Now, those are all tips to do with your index, building up the strength, working on technique. And now we're going to take a look at our group of fingers, making the chord. One of the best tips I've seen work for beginners with this is take any of your open chords and begin to play them only using your other three fingers, so no index. Don't use your index to make any of the chords. It's going to feel weird. These fingers are going to have to work way harder, but it kind of gets them to up their game. So when they go to playing bar chords, it's way easier. So you can take a G, a C, a D, A, and E. And just spend a bit of time like strumming them and building up the independence in those fingers. And those are listed in the worksheet. I have some open chord suggestions you can do this with. Another thing you can do for your bar chord strength is to isolate out how you work on it. So you've the full shape on, I'm using the side of my finger, and you'll notice here I've slanted these three fingers. Because if I have it here, it creates this weird sort of a thing where I'm trying to use the side of my index, but these are slanting this way. So if you lean your fingers over towards the index, it can really help your bar chord placement for this shape. And test the top 4 strings, then the bottom 2, and strum it all. And the best thing is, all these things apply to your other bar chord shapes as well, including our B minor bar chord and any future bar chord shapes you do. So looking at our B minor, I have it on, I'm doing the exact same things. Elbow back, I'm really hugging the body of the guitar. I'm using the side of my index instead of like the flat of it. And I'll work for B minor as well. Keeping in mind the whole time about our push-ups example, your hands are going to get sore, so just keep an eye out and rest them as necessary. Your action items for this lesson, action item number 1, it is to spend time strengthening up your index. I've already covered it in this lesson. They're listed in the worksheet below as well. Number 2 then is to spend time practicing with your other 3 fingers to build up the independence in them. And number 3 is to combine them together and begin spending time testing your bar chords. No fast chord changes, no crazy strumming, nothing like that. The only job is to build up strength in your hand. And for that reason, I'd suggest you practice your bar chords like 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon if possible, and definitely another 10 minutes in the evening or nighttime. Do more if you wish, but listen to your hand, listen to your body. It will take a fair amount of minutes, and it does take a longer time. It isn't like open chords where you learn the shape and you got it and yes, result. bar chords are a bit of like a chip away thing. You keep chipping away at them and they get easier and get easier. And this is coming from a person who's been playing them a long time. However, you'll hear other players report that eventually you get them when you stick with it. So that's your structure, that's your framework. I hope you have fun, and whenever you're ready to hit into the next lesson on theory and a bit more on technique, do so, and I'll see you then.